It's a very popular thing now. Everyone wants to leave the West. Everyone wants to leave the comforts and the decadence of the West and move to a less supposedly culturally advanced area of the world where women, according to popular theory, act more in line with how a woman's supposed to act. If you truly think about the West and how things are, what people are trying to flee from is the decadence and the narcissistic tendencies and the brazen, outlandish self-centeredness of the modern day woman. Women have essentially been what was used to keep men in place. It's how the West was built. It was built off the backs of men, specifically off the backs of us so-called black men. And in order to maintain that structural power, what they did was they used traditionalism, or what they call traditionalism, with the modern family, which is based on total nonsense, where men basically work, they live and they die in service to their family, in service to essentially the woman. Women go around talking about how they're the neck and how they can turn the head to do whatever the fuck they want. And they say the man is the head. And everybody knows that if you take a hit to your head, a lot can happen to you. You can lose your memory. You can die. You can be rendered a vegetable. And that's what women have done basically to men in the West. They want you to be a simp. They want you to be completely controlled. They want you to be the fool. And they want you to do it willingly in service to, a whorish woman. It likes to go out and do whatever she wants to do with whoever she wants to do it with and be celebrated for being, essentially evil. It's not enough that they get to commit the evil. They want you to celebrate them for it, to revel in it along with them. And that's what really has kept us as men in the perpetual state that we're in. It's the worship of women, the worshiping of girls that, we want to sleep with, the idolization of our mothers, believing that no matter what she's done, she can do no wrong. When in reality, your mother, more often than not, is the cause of great evil to come upon you. I know what I'm saying may not be popular, but if you truly think about it, a lot of guys out here, the reason why they wind up dating single moms and the reason why they wind up dating, whores is because that's what their mom was. And they were groomed from a young age to just be okay with chicks living this type of life, being this type of way. Specifically us as black men, I would say we have it the worst with the women in our lives being this particular way. Now, if you observe, what all it's done for us as men, it's basically neutered us. Where black men, I think that we're probably sought after to date by all the races of women, but it's because we as men, in general, put up with the most shit. You got to be a certain type of dude to put up with a BW. And if you can put up with a BW, then you can put up with any type of chick anywhere else. You'll tolerate a lot of goddamn shit from your girl. And it should not be that way. She should have no leeway to do anything. And that's just the truth. She should be, her whole purpose is to just serve. And that's it. Her, along with 6 other women right beside her, all serving you as a man. But in society today, how many times do we hear, you'll observe some woman saying, oh, I'm not going to share a man. I'll never share a man. He's just mine, and that's it, and that you're here to serve her. You're here to do what she wants. And that's what they believe. Because if you truly look up the origins of the West and you observe it for what it is, Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, which is the true name of the state that's in power over all the others, Columbia is a deity. It's a created deity, and it's a female that America, the West, serves. And that's how it's always been. It's always been in service to a woman. You look at the halls of justice in America, and you see a woman holding some scales in one hand and a sword in the other, and she got a blindfold. And this crazy bitch is who's supposed to be, passing judgment. And they always say justice is blind. And how can you fucking make an accurate decision if you're blindfolded? It's completely insane. You walk into any police station, maybe, I don't know, I've never been in a police station, but if you go into one, I imagine you see like statues of this fucking bitch everywhere. I know you see them on any TV show or anything to do with police, because that's what they worship. They worship a woman. It's all about woman worship. They have affirmative action laws in the West where if you start a business, if you pay the cost to start a business, you have to hire so many women. Otherwise, you can't operate. Affirmative action has been taken over to completely destroy businesses. And that's why the West is in the predicament that it's in. I think it's in the Book of Remembrance where it says the intelligence of Edom will flee from him in the last days. Meaning the vagina worshiping lunatics who are Edomites. The people who are in power, the hands of the wicked, the evildoers, the ones who are in control, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call those motherfuckers. Their intelligence will flee from them in the last days. And what do we see now? We see all these cross-dressers, these transgenders, these lunatics, and they're all out running around talking about, you're a guy, but you're a girl, or you're a girl, but you're a guy, and women can get pregnant, and just all this other nonsense. And men want to flee this. So they're trying to flee to what they believe is other cities, to what they believe is some semblance of normalcy. Some of them believe that, the patriarchy is biblical, and that you should seek that. And they want to watch the West burn, it to be totally destroyed and consumed by its own evil, by its own decadence. And I don't think that that's necessarily the way it's going to go down. Because if you look at all these other civilizations, while they may hate the West, they may hate America, they're all technically in bed with it, biblically as well as financially. You look at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, you look at all these other cities, and you look at where they're getting their funding from. How is it that all other cities and countries, places where other people want to go to, they all, to some degree or another, in order to maintain their goods and services, they use the greenback, they use the dollar, they use the currency of their enemies for whatever reason. Not necessarily something that you need to go into as to why. Because, the only time that you use something that somebody else uses is because you and them are technically on the same side. Which goes back to what I was originally talking about with the whole, fleeing the cities. Because if you think about it, in the West, the way the cities are designed, they're designed to be destroyed. And from a foundational level. You ride around through any city pretty much in America, in the West, in Britain, wherever, and you're going to see cracks in the road. These cracks are because of things going on underneath the ground with the irrigation system, with the flow of water. And it's basically on a foundational level where they have gas lines connected to, several points throughout the city to maintain heat, to heat up water. And these water pipes get condensation from overheating, and it causes the steel to expand, which causes the soil to erode and melt and turn into mud, and it liquefies around the pipes, and that causes it to rust from the outside. And over time, this creeps on into the inside, totally corrupting the water. And it's like the cities themselves were designed in a way where somebody who was a complete idiot made them. And it's a continuous thing. Because, believe it or not, if you go down into the sewers, you'll die due to gas main leaks. It's a common knowledge thing if you look this up for yourself. The design of the majority of cities in the West are designed in a way where the gas pipes run next to water mains, right? And those water mains are right next to the sewer mains. And it's a continuous cycle throughout the city where if the gas main blows up, it'll blow up the entire city. From the gas plant all the way to every business, every store, every street will all explode all at the same time, almost. I don't know if it'll be like what they would call a nuke, but that's the way it's designed. It's the design of an idiot. And there's nothing being done to truly maintain this infrastructure. They always talk about in the West how men maintain the infrastructure. And in reality, nobody's maintaining this infrastructure, because if they were, you wouldn't see all these cracks in the ground. And the cracks come from the gas main leaks, which inevitably seep up and burn through the soil and eventually concrete. It totally eats through it over time. And so that's why when people go into sewers or they go work on water mains, or anytime somebody has a job that requires them to, do any type of maintaining of the irrigation system, they have to wear like what looks like a hazmat suit. They have to have like breathing apparatuses, because they will quite literally die. Period. End of story. And every other city that is, outside of the U.S. is designed in the same manner. It's all been designed to be destroyed. And it's something that we see on a daily basis. In my opinion, it doesn't matter where you go. I just don't think that this is something that, unless you go out into the desert or somewhere where there's not, mass infrastructure, that's about the only way you'll be able to survive what I believe is coming. I believe that anybody who's truly thinking, who's truly paying attention, this is something that you can see. This is something that not only are you aware of it, but the steps needed to avoid this type of calamity. I think that the only way to do it is to just not be around when it all falls apart. And I don't know when that's going to happen. But I just think it's something that we as black men should talk about, because if you're going to flee a city, then you need to know every reason why it is you're fleeing. And you're not just fleeing, I think, because of women or the quality of woman. That's just something of a base desire. The higher mind, the thinking black man, I believe we see further. We can see more. We can see to the truth of that, of what's really going on. I mean, only a fool would see cracks in the ground and not wonder why that is. Why it is that the only repair method is to asphalt that particular problem and not go to the root cause. And it's because the root cause is something that can't be fixed. There's the flaw in the design. Something to think about. Peace.
No paper, no phone, no texting, no writing, nobody telling me what to say. This from the brain, from the heart, from the soul, from the streets. I'm